everyone, I'm Dee Dee.
And I'm Tina.
Welcome to ACB. Welcome to our new Stages bikes. We are going to go through some of the bike setup tips with you and then review some Cycling 101 tips as well.
Because the setup of the bike is very important for all riders, Dee Dee's going to show you how to get yourself set up. I'm going to sit on the bike and she's going to take us through the 4 different steps.
Okay, let's start with the saddle height. If you look at the side of the bike closely, you're going to see that it has some numbers. So you want to set your saddle height up so that it's right about hip height. So if you walk up right next to the saddle, put your hip up against it. You can try doing a quick set like that. And then once you get on the bike, you're going to want to do about a 25 to 30 degree bend in your knee. And so one of the things that you want to keep in mind when you're doing this is that you want to click this blue lever all the way out. That's going to release the saddle, and you're going to want to go until you feel like you're right about hip height. So let's try.
This will get you in the ballpark.
Right.
And then we'll fine tune it. So I'm about there, wouldn't you say, Dee Dee?
Yeah, that looks
good.
pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and click this blue knob all the way back. If you leave it out, it's going to be a little bit too wobbly, so you want to make sure.
And it's not locked. Right.
Right.
Now it's locked.
And now you're going to feel solid.
Okay.
Why don't we hop on?
All right. Okay, Dee Dee, what's next?
So while your foot is relaxed at the bottom, I want you to go ahead and relax one foot all the way to the bottom and just flatten out that foot. Just relax your knee. How does that feel in terms of?
Feels good.
All right, so she's got about a 25 to 30 degree bend in her knee, it looks like. If Tina was too low in the saddle, her knee would be really bent, and that would put a lot of pressure on her knees, and we don't want that. If she's too high in the saddle, when she starts pedaling, her hips are gonna rock and it would be too much of a reach. But you do wanna have that extension because that's where your pedaling is gonna be most efficient. Let's jump over just quickly and Tina, I'm gonna have you stand on the pedals. The bike has a fore and aft adjustment as well. And so we're gonna look at just putting this in neutral position, and if you go in, you can see that there's some numbers on that as well. This blue knob will tighten it up. So we're just gonna start with her in neutral position. In the end, when she sits down, and after we adjust the handlebar height and the fore and aft of the handlebars, we want about a 90 degree angle in her upper body. This is going to give her the most efficient space. If she's too close, it's going to be too tight, not have enough room to make that nice full revolution of those pedal strokes. And let's go ahead and start looking at this adjustment then. If you have any lower back issues, I would recommend that you put your saddle or your handlebar height a little bit higher than your saddle height. Same kind of adjustment on these handlebars. So if we have Tina sit back, this will click in, and then you want to lock it in by pushing, and sometimes you have to push hard. If they're tight, you really want to make sure you get it locked in. So it's your water bottle holder, but you want to get that locked in so it's nice and solid. Looking at moving this handlebar height forward and back, we can also adjust it by turning this blue knob to the left to loosen it up, right to tighten it. Then if Tina were to put her hands back on the handlebars in that position, then she'd have a nice 90 degree angle as she starts pedaling. How's that feel?
Feels pretty good.
All right. So you can always move that forward or back as it feels comfortable to you. One of the recommendations, if you're just getting started and you think, I can't remember, how did I do this last time? Pull out your camera. Take a picture of the settings and the numbers, take a picture of the settings and the numbers, and then that way you can just hop right on. Okay, let's look at one more adjustment, and that is your resistance. This big blue knob right here, as you turn it to the right, that's going to add resistance. As you peel it off to the left, that's going to take off that resistance. Press it down, it's a quick brake. If you need to stop in case your foot were to slip out and you don't want the pedal to come around and hit you, you could press that quickly. This black lever, which we'll talk a little bit more about as we get going, is also a quick add of resistance. So shifting it to the center is going to add resistance without having to turn the blue knob at all. Adding it all the way to the right adds even more resistance. Peeling it off, takes off that resistance. And so you can micro tune using the blue knob and then add resistance, and your instructor will probably talk you through that, the use of that, but you can use that at any time that feels right for you. Let's go ahead and look at the console. So as you hop on the bike and you start pedaling, it's going to wake up and come into warm-up mode. You might have to push the stage button if the bike in the console is completely black, but once you push that center stage button, then it's going to wake up the bike and put it in warm-up mode. Down the left-hand side, you're going to see some numbers. The top number is your watts, that's your power. Second number down, revolutions per minute, says RPM. So Tina's cycling at a revolution per minute of 76, 77. If we were to add resistance and speed at the same time, so shift lever center, adding a little speed, her watts just jumped up. So your watts are really, it's your power. It's a combination of your speed and your resistance together. And she's also, because she's added resistance, showing that she is in a gear of 2. If your instructor has taken the ride and has warmed you up and says, okay, you guys, let's get into our stages. And this bike is really nice. It has 99 stages. You might use 1 stage during your class. You might use 50 stages during your class. So let's press the stage button, and that is going to take you into what's called stage 1 at the very top of the screen. Now you've got some other numbers that have lit up for you. We're still looking at real time down on the left-hand side. We're showing averages on the right-hand side. So that can be used in a number of different ways throughout class. Maybe you want to compare 2 stages against one another and see what your averages are, but your instructor will talk you through that. Bottom number is still now lighting up. It's showing your time, it's showing your gear still, it's showing your miles at the very bottom. So there's a lot of features to this bike. You don't have to worry about it. You never even have to use it if you don't want. Your instructor will talk you through it as you go.
Okay, we're back. We're going to cover some basic cycling 101 tips, things that you need to know in order to really be happy on the bike. Questions that we often get asked by new riders is, do I need special equipment? And the answer is no, you do not. You can easily get on a bike and do a class in regular workout gear and regular tennis shoes. However, once you get more familiar with the bike, you might decide to upgrade to some bike pants and some cycling shoes. Dee Dee is in fact wearing some padded bike shorts. I might just add that there are many different kinds of bike shorts, and when you go into REI or the local bike shop to pick these up, tell them you're going to be indoor cycling. The padding on an indoor cycling pant is a little bit thinner than if you were going to be out riding outdoors. Dee Dee is wearing her favorite cycling shoes, which will allow her to get clipped into the pedal. On one side of this bike pedal there is a cage for regular tennis shoes, and if you flip it over, you can see there's an SPD clip. You don't have to know it's SPD, but it might make you sound cool if you do. Dee Dee's wearing the SPD shoes, so she's going to just place her shoe. Oh, that was nice and easy, Dee Dee. Sometimes you have to search around a little bit to find the sweet spot and get clipped in. Are you clipped in on both sides?
Good.
Great.
Good to go.
All right, so as Dee Dee pedals, her foot is going to remain on the pedal, and this gives her better flexibility at the ankle. Her foot is not moving around in the cage, so for these reasons, we like to wear cycling shoes. When it's time to get off the bike, she's got to unclip herself. So this is what she's going to do. Stop the bike, she's going to twist her foot out to the side, something like a ski boot binding, and then she's out. We'd like to encourage you to bring a water bottle to class. We live in the desert, and we want you to remain hydrated. In addition, you should have a sweat towel, and you should come with a really good attitude, and ask your instructor if you have any additional questions about any of the bike setup, or the computer, or the gear that you should wear.